Hey, welcome back. I'm really happy you're here today.
Me too. I love recording these episodes. Every time we sit down and just talk, I feel like something good is going to happen.
Exactly. And today we have a really good topic. I think a lot of people are going to love this one.
Okay, tell me, what are we talking about?
Today we're talking about how to learn English without a teacher.
Oh, that is a big topic. A lot of people want to learn English, but they don't have a teacher, or they can't go to a school, or maybe they tried a class and it just didn't feel right.
Right. And you know what? That's okay. You don't need a teacher to learn English. You really don't.
Okay, but I want to push back a little because I think some people hear that and they think, great, I can just download an app and I'll be fluent in a week. And that's not really what we're saying, right?
No. That's not what we're saying at all. Learning English takes time. It takes real effort. But, and this is the important part, you don't need someone standing in front of you to make that happen.
Okay, I like that. So what does a person actually need? If they don't have a teacher, what do they need instead?
That's a great place to start. I think the first thing, the most important thing, is input. You need to hear English. You need to read English. You need a lot of it coming into your brain every day.
Input. So like listening, watching things?
Yes, listening, watching, reading, all of that. Your brain needs to hear the language again and again before it starts to feel natural, before it starts to feel easy.
And I think a lot of people skip that part. They want to speak right away. They want to open their mouth and say perfect sentences on day one.
And then they feel bad when they can't. They think, I'm not good at this. English is too hard for me.
But that's not the real problem. The real problem is they didn't get enough input first, right?
Exactly. Think about it this way. When you were a baby, you didn't speak right away. You listened for a long time. You heard your parents talking, you heard people around you, you heard words hundreds of times before you tried to say them.
Oh, that's such a good point. No one expected a baby to speak on the first day.
Right. But somehow, when adults learn a language, they expect themselves to speak perfectly, very quickly, and that creates a lot of pressure.
And pressure makes learning harder. I really believe that. When you're scared or nervous, your brain doesn't learn as well.
Absolutely. So the first big idea is this: relax and get a lot of input. Listen to English every day, watch things in English, read simple things in English. Don't rush.
Okay, I love that. Now, I want to ask you something because I think people also wonder, what kind of English should I listen to? Like, should I listen to very formal, perfect English or everyday English?
Oh, great question. I always say, listen to the English you want to use. If you want to understand movies and shows, listen to that. If you want to talk to people at work, listen to business conversations. If you just want to make friends and have a good time, listen to friendly, casual English.
That makes sense. There's no one kind of English that works for everyone.
Right. And honestly, for most beginners, I think the best thing is to listen to clear, friendly, natural speech. Not too fast, not too formal, just real people talking.
Like this podcast.
Like this podcast, yes. We try to speak clearly. We don't use very long, complicated sentences. We just talk like normal people.
And I think listeners can feel that. It doesn't feel like a class. It just feels like two people talking about something interesting.
That's exactly the goal. Okay, so we talked about input. What comes next?
I think the next thing is understanding, because you can listen all day, but if you understand nothing, it's very frustrating.
Yes, and this is a real challenge for beginners. You turn on an English movie and someone speaks very fast, and you understand maybe 5 words, and you just feel lost.
I've been there. When I was learning, I remember watching something and thinking, are they even speaking English? This doesn't sound like anything I know.
Yes, that feeling is so common, and it can make people give up.
So what do you do? How do you find the right level?
The key idea is this: find content that is just a little bit above your level, not way above, just a little. You understand most of it, but there are some new words or phrases, and over time, those new parts become familiar.
So, not too easy, not too hard.
Exactly. If it's too easy, you don't learn much. If it's too hard, you feel frustrated and give up. You want something in the middle.
And how do you know if something is the right level?
A good simple rule: if you understand about 70 to 80% of what you hear or read, that's a good level for learning. You get the main idea, you pick up new words from context, and you stay motivated because you're not completely lost.
Context. I want to stop on that word because I think it's really important and maybe some listeners aren't sure what that means.
Sure, context just means the words around a word. So if I say, she was very tired, she couldn't stop yawning, you probably understand that yawning is something you do when you're tired. You didn't need me to explain it. The sentence around it told you.
Right, the situation gives you the meaning. That's so natural. That's how kids learn.
Exactly. And it's how adults can learn too, if they let themselves. Instead of stopping every 2 seconds to look up every word, just keep going. Let the story help you understand.
I think that's really hard for some people because they feel like they need to know every single word.
They do, and I understand why. It feels more comfortable to understand everything perfectly, but that's not really how language works in real life.
Because in real life, people speak fast, they use slang, they don't speak perfectly. You have to get comfortable with a little bit of uncertainty.
Exactly. Get comfortable with not understanding everything. That's actually a skill, and it gets easier with practice.
Okay, so we have input, we have finding the right level. What else?
I think one of the biggest things that people underestimate is repetition, seeing and hearing the same words and phrases many, many times.
Repetition, like going over the same thing again and again.
Yes, but in a natural way, not sitting down with a list of words and repeating them 50 times. That's boring and it doesn't really work long term.
So, what does work?
Meeting the same words in different contexts. You hear a word in a podcast, you see the same word in a book, you hear it again in a movie. Each time, the word gets a little stronger in your memory.
Oh, that's interesting. So the word gets stronger each time you meet it.
Yes. Think of it like meeting a person. The first time you meet someone, you might forget their name, but if you see them again at a party, then again at a store, then again at work, by the fourth or fifth time, you know who they are. Words work the same way.
I love that. Words are like people you're getting to know.
Exactly. You're building a relationship with the language.
Okay, that's beautiful. Now I want to talk about something that I think is really important: speaking. Because a lot of people feel like they can never get better at speaking if they don't have someone to practice with.
This is such a common worry, and I understand it. Speaking feels different from listening. You have to produce the language, not just receive it.
Right. When you're listening, you can just listen. But when you speak, you have to think fast. You have to put words together. You have to worry about how you sound.
And people get scared. They think, what if I say it wrong? What if the other person doesn't understand me? What if I look stupid?
That fear is real. I felt it too. Even now, sometimes if I'm speaking in a second language, there's that little moment of, am I going to say this right?
And that fear slows you down. It can even stop you completely.
So how do you practice speaking without a teacher, without a conversation partner?
Well, first, I want to say there are more ways to find speaking practice than people think. But before we get to that, I want to say something about talking to yourself.
Talking to yourself, like out loud?
Yes, this sounds a little funny, but it is actually very useful. Talking to yourself in English, just narrating your day. I'm making coffee, I'm going to the kitchen, it's a nice morning today. Small things.
That's interesting. And nobody hears you, so there's no pressure.
Right. You can make mistakes and it doesn't matter. You can try a sentence 3 different ways. You can go slow, you can stop and think. It's the safest practice environment in the world.
I like that. It's like a warm-up, like stretching before you exercise.
Exactly. And over time, you start to notice that English comes more naturally because you've been using it, even quietly, even alone.
Okay, what else? What other ways can someone practice speaking without a teacher?
Well, recording yourself is a big one. Just take your phone, press record, and talk. Talk about your day. Talk about something you've watched. Talk about something you're interested in.
And then you can listen back and hear yourself.
Yes, and most people find this very uncomfortable at first. They don't like hearing their own voice, they notice mistakes.
But isn't that the point? You notice the mistakes and you improve.
Exactly. It's actually one of the fastest ways to see your own progress because if you record yourself today and then record yourself again in 3 months, you will hear the difference. You will hear yourself improving.
That's motivating. I think a lot of learners don't see their own progress because they're too focused on how far they have to go.
Yes, and they forget to look at how far they've come.
Okay, so talking to yourself, recording yourself, what about actually talking to other people, real human beings?
Yes, and this is more possible than ever now. There are so many apps and websites where you can find a language partner, someone who wants to learn your language and you want to learn theirs. You help each other.
Oh, like an exchange.
Exactly, a language exchange. You spend half the time speaking in English and half the time speaking in their language. It's free, it's friendly, and it feels natural. You're not in a classroom, you're just two people having a conversation.
And you can do it from anywhere, from your bedroom.
Yes, you don't need to travel. You don't need to be in an English-speaking country. You just need a phone or a computer and a little bit of courage.
A little bit of courage. I like that because it does take courage, especially the first time you talk to a stranger in English.
It absolutely does, but I promise, almost everyone is kind. Almost everyone understands that you are learning. People are patient, people are encouraging.
And the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Always. Every conversation builds your confidence a little more. Even the messy conversations, even the ones where you forget a word or you say something wrong, those are the ones you learn from the most.
Okay, let's talk about something that I think is really close to the heart of this topic, motivation. Because I think a lot of people start with great motivation. They're excited, they download apps, they watch English videos, they're doing everything right.
And then life gets busy.
And then life gets busy. They miss a few days, then a week goes by, then a month, and they feel guilty, and it's hard to start again.
That story is so common. I think almost every language learner has been through that.
So, how do you keep going? How do you stay motivated when you don't have a teacher pushing you?
That is such an important question, and I think the honest answer is you have to connect your learning to something real, something you actually care about.
What do you mean?
I mean, if you're learning English just because it's good for me or I should, that kind of motivation doesn't last. It's too abstract. It's too far away.
But if you have a real reason,
Yes, if you're learning because you want to watch your favorite TV show without subtitles, that's real. If you're learning because you have a friend in another country and you want to talk to them, that's real. If you're learning because you want to travel and feel confident, that's real.
those are things you feel in your chest, not just in your head.
Exactly. And when you connect your learning to those real reasons, it's easier to keep going. Because when you're tired and you don't want to study, you can think, this is for something I actually care about.
I think people also underestimate how important it is to enjoy what you're learning from.
Oh, huge, 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 huge. If you hate the content, you will not continue. Simple as that.
So if someone gives you a textbook and says, study this, but it's boring to you,
Throw it away. Find something else. Find a podcast you love. Find a YouTube channel that makes you laugh. Find a book you actually want to read. The language inside something you enjoy is just as real and just as useful as the language in a boring textbook.
maybe even more useful because you actually absorb it.
Right. When you're having fun, your brain is open. When you're bored, your brain closes a little. It's just how we work.
Okay, I want to talk about something a little different now because we've been talking a lot about the big picture, listening, speaking, motivation. But what about the small, everyday habits? Because I think that's where people struggle. Not just the big ideas, but the daily practice.
Yes, daily habits are everything. I truly believe that a little English every day is much better than a big session once a week.
Why do you think that is?
Because language lives in your memory, and memory needs regular visits. If you only practice once a week, by the next time you sit down, you've forgotten so much. You spend half your time just going back to where you were.
It's like watering a plant. You have to water it a little every day, not a lot once a week.
That's a perfect way to say it. Daily, consistent contact with the language keeps it alive in your mind.
So, what does a daily habit look like for someone who's busy, who has work, family, a life?
It doesn't have to be a long time. Even 15 minutes a day makes a real difference. The key is it has to be every day or almost every day.
15 minutes is so manageable. Anyone can find 15 minutes.
Exactly. You can listen to English while you cook breakfast. You can listen to a podcast on your way to work. You can read a few pages of something before bed. Small things every day.
And you don't have to sit at a desk. You don't have to treat it like homework.
Right. Learning doesn't have to look like studying. It can look like living your life just in English.
I want to give some really practical examples of this because I think abstract ideas are nice, but people need to see it in their real lives.
Sure. Let's talk about some people, real situations.
Okay, let's say there's someone, let's call her Maria. Maria works in a store. She's a beginner in English. She's on her feet all day. She can't really sit and study. What can she do?
Maria can do so much. She can change her phone to English. That alone, everything she reads on her phone all day is in English. Little by little, she learns words from real life.
Oh, that's clever. Something she already uses every day, but now it teaches her.
And she can listen to an English podcast while she walks to work or while she eats lunch. She already does these things every day. She just adds English to them.
What about understanding? She's a beginner. Won't she understand almost nothing?
At first, yes, she might understand very little, but she can choose podcasts made for beginners, slow, clear, simple, like this one. And even if she only understands a few words at first, her ear is getting used to the sounds of English. That matters.
And it gets better quickly, like faster than people expect.
Yes, the first few weeks can feel slow, but after a month, 2 months, 3 months of daily input, the improvement is really noticeable.
Okay, let me give another example. Let's say there's someone called James. He's a student. He has more free time than Maria, but he gets bored easily. He starts things and then stops.
Ah, James is a very common type. I think a lot of people can recognize themselves in James.
So what does James need?
James needs variety, and he needs to follow his interests. If James loves video games, he should play video games in English. If he loves cooking, he should watch cooking videos in English. If he loves football, he should follow English-speaking sports channels.
Because he won't get bored if he's already interested in the topic.
Exactly. The English is almost a bonus. He's there for the content, but the whole time he's absorbing the language.
And I think this is such an important point. You can learn English through anything: music, sports, cooking, travel, history, whatever you love.
There's English content about every topic in the world. Whatever makes your heart happy, it exists in English somewhere. Find it and use it to learn.
Okay, let me think of one more example. What about someone who is more advanced? Let's say her name is Sophia. She's been learning English for a few years. She can understand a lot, she can read okay, but she feels stuck, like she's not improving anymore.
Oh, the plateau. This is so common and so frustrating.
What is a plateau exactly? Some listeners might not know that word.
A plateau is when you stop going up. Imagine climbing a mountain. You go up, 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 and then suddenly the ground is flat. You're not going higher anymore. In language learning, a plateau is when you feel like you're working hard but not improving.
Right, but usually the reason for a plateau is that the person is staying too comfortable. They're only using English they already know. They're not challenging themselves.
Ah, so they need harder input.
Yes, they need to level up, read something harder, listen to native speakers talking fast, watch movies without subtitles, put themselves in situations where they have to stretch.
And that feels uncomfortable at first.
It does, but that discomfort is actually growth. That's your brain working hard. And after a while, the uncomfortable thing becomes comfortable, and you've improved.
So the feeling of struggle is actually a good sign.
In learning, yes. If everything is easy and comfortable, you're probably not growing much. A little bit of struggle means you're at the right level.
I love that reframe. The struggle is the learning.
Yes, embrace it. Don't run away from the hard stuff.
Okay, let's talk about something practical now, reading. Because I think some people are not sure, is reading important for learning English or is listening more important?
Both are important. They work together, but they build different things.
Tell me more.
Listening helps you with pronunciation, rhythm, speed, natural expression. When you listen, you hear how English actually sounds. You get a feel for the music of the language.
And reading?
Reading builds vocabulary very fast. You see words written down. You have time to think. You can go at your own speed. You can stop, look up a word, go back and reread. It's more flexible.
And when you read, you also see how sentences are built, right? How the words fit together.
Yes, reading shows you the structure of English in a natural way, not grammar rules, just patterns. Over time, you start to feel what sounds right because you've seen it so many times.
So do you recommend reading even for beginners?
Yes, but start very simple. Children's books are great, simple news websites made for English learners, short stories. The important thing is don't start with something too hard. Find your level and start there.
And as you improve, you move to harder things.
Step by step. It's a journey. You don't have to go from zero to a novel in 1 week.
That would be very stressful.
Very, very stressful.
Okay, I want to talk now about something that I think is often ignored in language learning, output. We talked about input a lot, but output, producing the language, is also really important.
Yes, and output means speaking and writing, using the language, not just receiving it.
Why does output matter? If I understand English well, isn't that enough?
Well, it depends on your goal. If you only want to watch movies and read books in English, then maybe input is enough. But if you want to communicate, to talk to people, to write emails, to have conversations, you need to produce the language too.
Because understanding and producing are different skills.
Very different. You can understand a word perfectly when you hear it, but that doesn't mean you can use it naturally when you speak. Using a word takes practice.
It's like the difference between knowing how a bicycle works and actually riding one.
Ha, perfect example. You can read 100 books about riding a bicycle, but until you get on and try, you won't really know how to do it.
And you'll fall a few times.
You'll definitely fall, but that's part of it.
So for writing, how can someone practice writing without a teacher to correct them?
There are a few good ways. One is keeping a simple diary in English, just a few sentences every day about what you did, how you felt, what you're thinking about. Nobody needs to see it, it's just for you.
And it doesn't have to be perfect.
It definitely doesn't have to be perfect. The goal is just to practice putting thoughts into English words. Over time, it gets easier and more natural.
What about getting feedback on writing? Because without a teacher, who tells you if something is wrong?
This is where technology is actually amazing now. There are AI tools that can read your writing and give feedback. They can help you see mistakes and suggest improvements, and it's free or very cheap.
So technology can actually replace a teacher for some things.
For some things, yes. Technology has gotten so good that for certain kinds of feedback, especially writing, it's actually very helpful. Not perfect, but very helpful.
And for speaking feedback.
There are also apps now that listen to you speak and give feedback on pronunciation. It's not the same as a human teacher, but it's something. And again, free or very cheap.
The world has changed so much. 20 years ago, if you wanted to learn English without a teacher, your options were limited. Now you have everything. Everything is available. The content, the tools, the connections. There is honestly no excuse, I say that with kindness, for not being able to find something to learn from.
With kindness, yes, because it's not about blaming people, it's about saying the resources are there. You just have to look.
And choose and commit. That's the harder part.
Committing, yes. Let's talk about that. Because choosing is one thing, but actually showing up every day and doing the work, that's where most people struggle.
I think the secret to commitment is making it easy. making learning so easy that it almost happens automatically.
What do you mean?
If learning English requires a big effort to start, finding the content, setting up, getting in the mood, you'll skip it on hard days. But if it's already there, already set up, already easy to start, you'll do it even when you're tired.
So, like, have your podcast already queued up, have your book already on the table, have your phone already in English.
Yes, remove the friction. Make it the easy choice. Put English into your environment so it's around you even when you're not trying.
That's smart. You're kind of designing your life to learn.
Exactly. You don't have to be disciplined every morning. You just have to set up your environment once, and then the learning happens naturally.
Okay, I want to go back to something we touched on earlier, mistakes, because I think this is a really big thing for a lot of learners. They're scared to make mistakes. They're scared to sound wrong.
Fear of mistakes is probably the biggest obstacle for adult language learners. Bigger than vocabulary, bigger than grammar. The fear of getting it wrong.
Why are adults so scared of mistakes? Children aren't really.
Children don't worry about looking foolish. They just try things. They say something wrong and people laugh kindly and correct them and they say it again. No big deal.
But adults feel like they should already know, like making a mistake is embarrassing.
Right. There's this idea that adults should be competent, that making a mistake in public shows weakness, and that's such a damaging idea when it comes to learning.
Because you can't learn without making mistakes. That's literally how it works.
Mistakes are information. Every mistake tells you something. It tells you where the gap is. It tells you what needs more practice. Without mistakes, you don't have a roadmap.
I like that. Mistakes as a roadmap, not as proof that you're bad at this, but as directions for where to go next.
Exactly. Change the way you think about mistakes, and you change your whole learning experience.
And most people, like you said earlier, most people are kind when you make a mistake in their language.
Very kind. In my experience, when someone is trying to speak your language, even imperfectly, you feel touched. You feel like they respect you enough to try. You don't judge them. You help them.
Because the effort itself is beautiful.
Yes, the effort is beautiful. The trying is the thing.
Okay, let me ask you something personal. Do you have a language learning story? Something you went through yourself?
Oh, definitely. I've learned languages as an adult, and I've made every mistake we've talked about today.
Tell me.
Well, early on, I tried to learn too fast. I wanted to be fluent in a few months. I was very impatient. I would study intensely for a few weeks and then burn out.
Burnout. When you push too hard and then you have nothing left.
Yes, like a flame that burns very bright and then goes out. And then I'd feel like a failure and give up for a while. And then I'd start again with the same energy and burn out again.
That cycle, I know it so well.
So eventually I learned slow and steady, small steps every day. And that changed everything. I started enjoying the process instead of just chasing the goal.
The process. That's such an important word. The goal is somewhere in the future. The process is right now, today.
And if you don't enjoy the process, the journey is miserable. But if you find joy in the day-to-day learning, every little moment of understanding, every new word, every conversation, the whole experience becomes something good.
Something to look forward to, not something to dread.
Exactly. Learning a language can be one of the most joyful things you do in your life, if you approach it right.
That's beautiful. Okay, we're getting close to the end of our time today, but I want to make sure we cover something practical before we finish, because I think listeners want to walk away with something they can actually do tomorrow.
Yes, let's do that. Let's just talk through a simple, real plan for someone starting from zero.
Perfect. So, day 1. Someone wakes up, they want to learn English, they have no teacher, they don't know where to start. What do?
First thing, change your phone to English. That's the smallest possible step, and it starts immediately.
Done. What next?
Find one thing you enjoy and find it in English. One podcast, one YouTube channel, one simple book. Just one. Don't overwhelm yourself with options.
Just one. I like that. Start small.
Then listen to it or read it every day. Even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes, make it a habit.
And don't try to understand everything at first. Just let it wash over you.
Yes, relax into it. Let your ear get used to the sounds. Over time, things will start to make sense.
What about speaking? When do you start trying to speak?
You can start talking to yourself on day one if you want. Just describe what you see around you. Say what you're doing. Use simple words. Don't wait until you feel ready because that day might never come.
Ha, that is so true. I'll start when I'm ready can become I never started.
Always start before you feel ready. That's a rule for all kinds of learning.
Okay, and what about writing?
Write a few sentences in English before bed about your day. Just simple things. Don't correct yourself obsessively. Just write. Get into the habit of thinking in English even a little.
And over time, all of these habits build on each other.
Yes, the listening helps the speaking, the reading helps the writing helps the grammar without you even knowing it. It all connects.
And you don't need a teacher pushing you. You have yourself. And honestly, if you're motivated and consistent, that's enough.
More than enough. Some of the best language learners in the world are self-taught. They just found the right approach and committed to it.
I believe that. I really do.
Okay, let me just say one more thing before we wrap up, because I think it's the most important thing of all.
Go ahead.
I believe that it's important to be patient with yourself. Learning a language is a long journey. It can take years, and that's okay. There's no finish line where you suddenly become fluent and the journey is over. It's something you keep building, keep growing for your whole life.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. Not a destination, a living, growing thing.
A living, growing thing, like a garden. You tend to it a little every day, you watch things grow slowly, and one day you look around and there's something beautiful.
And the garden never stops growing. You can always learn more, always discover more.
Always. Even native speakers discover new words, new ways of saying things. Language is alive. It's always moving.
I love that. Okay, I think that's a perfect note to end on. Let me just say, if you're listening to this and you're worried that you can't learn English without a teacher, I hope this conversation has helped you feel a little less worried.
You can do it. You really can. You just need the right approach, a little patience, and a love for the language.
And you're already doing one important thing. You're listening to English right now. You're putting in the input.
That counts. Every minute of this podcast counts. Even if you didn't understand every word, that's okay. You were here. You tried. That matters.
It absolutely does. Okay, thank you so much for listening today. We really appreciate you spending time with us.
And we'll be back with another episode very soon. Until then, keep listening, keep trying, and be kind to yourself.
Take care, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.